What's up, guys? This is Rise, and 2 weekends ago, I traveled to Chicago, Illinois for a triple double header of Pokemon tournaments. What does this mean? Every single day, there were 2 tournaments at a different venue. The first day, a challenge and a cup. The second day, a challenge and a cup. The third day, a challenge and a cup. A challenge is worth 15 points maximum for winning. A cup is worth 50 points maximum for winning. Rise, what are these points you're talking about? Championship points. In order to qualify for the World Championships next year in Hawaii, you need to either win a tournament or get 500 championship points as a North American player. I came into the Chicago weekend with around 360 something points, and I had the goal of either getting myself very close where I could qualify in San Antonio, which is going on at the time you're seeing this video, or maybe even just qualify there if I was able to do well enough. You're going to see how things pan out in this video. This was the start of the new meta, so all of us were kind of experimenting, seeing the new meta unfold. Every tournament had around 19 to 23 players, including some amazing players. You're going to see battles against Hot Pocket, Arrow, Jangles, Abhinav, Shiny Dialga, Uzuku, and maybe some more. There were too many matches to show all of them, so I'm going to show you as many highlights as I can and take you through the journey of the weekend. But here were some of the teams I ran. This was the first team I ran, round 2, third tournament. This is for you, high 5, and I believe high 5 I actually ran back for the 6th tournament as well. So I changed up my team almost every time with the exception of the last tournament. I went back to back. And here we go. First battle I'm going to show you is against Tony Jr. This was in the very first tournament. So I had just beaten Shiny Dialga, a terrific battler, in the first round. And then I had a pairing against Mr. Tony Jr. Now, this is like worst case scenario, but this is actually how I devised my team strategy. This is a double dark team I was running that gave people a lot of problems, and we had the worst possible lead, Clodsire into Gligar. We are able to lure out this Clefable with our Psychic Umbreon. Rise, why are you running Psychic Umbreon? Don't you know Psychic got nerfed? I do know that, Frederick, but you're going to see Psychic had some nice play. So we're able to lure out the Clefable. We're going to come in here with our Clodsire, which is going to go for a very bold Poison Sting down. So this may lure him into giving up Switch. We're going for a very bold Poison Sting down. And I'm kind of hoping he gives up Switch here. And he doesn't give up Switch, but he comes in with Gligar. We've gotten rid of the Clefable. And we come in with Guzzlord. And Guzzlord is going to try his best to clutch this win for us. He swaps, and there's a Superior in back. So the ABB strategy kind of works. Guzzlord has a ton of play here. And I'm hoping I can pull off some shenanigans. And I'm going. Here, I make a fatal error where I don't shield. I thought he'd go for Aerial Ace. I felt like maybe that would do little enough damage where I could take it and get like a farm down, but he wisely went for the Frenzy Plant that connected, and unfortunately I'm only going to get off one move here because that wing attack through is going to KO. So we have a tough matchup here against Tony Jr. We tried our best, and at this point I'm kind of just conceding knowing that it's over. And I go for the Earthquake to kind of concede and going to let this move go through. Well played from Tony Jr. So early on in the first tournament, we faced some adversity, but we're not out of it yet. This is a Swiss format. So after every single tournament, there's going to be 5 rounds approximately. And the top 4 to 8 competitors, depending on the size of the tournament, will then go to a top cut and go from there. So now I play my good friend, Mr. Out of Pocket, also known as Hot Pocket. And here is where the Psychic came in handy. Now keep in mind, these are open team sheets. These are open team sheets, but because it's so obscure to run Psychic Umbreon, especially after the nerf, Pocket did not realize it was Psychic until after he had swapped in his Tentacruel. So even though it was open team sheets, he just... and this happened multiple times. This was not just Pocket. This was multiple opponents where either Clodsire or Tentacruel or even Poliwrath would no-shield the Psychic, and they would add up. Now, here I'm faced with a decision. Do I shield? Do I let it go? I'm hoping I can get to the Psychic, and unfortunately, I don't. So a bit of a misplay by me. I could have gotten off the foul play there, but in a sense, it's not the worst thing in the world because this gives me more farm on my Guzzlord, so maybe it's actually better that I didn't throw the foul play. We're going to get a big farm down here with Guzz, and our Azumarill is awfully safe against Pocket's team now that the Tentacruel is gone. We're going to go straight for the Crunch here. Crunch connects, swap in Azu, met by Swampert. And now the Frostlass was low enough. In my mind, I'm thinking I can just use Azu as a sponge here. And after this Ice Beam connects especially, I can just Dragon Tail everything down. So I was perfectly comfortable letting this go. And Pocket felt like he probably needed to get some baits in order to come back from this situation. So he goes for the Hydro Cannon baits. And we're just taking everything here. Another Ice Beam coming through. He had his really no choice but to shield here. And we're chilling, knowing that our Guzzlord can just fast move everything down. So, I had a very positive team composition as well in this matchup against Pocket. We were talking later, because after the weekend, Pocket's like, did we ever play Rise this whole weekend? Because you play people multiple times throughout all these tournaments. You play a lot of the same people over and over again. And I was like, yeah, we played the first tournament. And he's like, oh, that doesn't count, bro. Like, your team just was too good against my team. And that was true. I had double Dark, and he had, like, no Fairy, and no counter. I think his counter user was DD, so my Dark types actually had play against his counter user. So I had 2 Dark types that were just free. And now we face off against Shiny Dialga. I think I fast-forwarded through several rounds here. So after we lost to Tony... And apologies to Tony if I was a little bit, like upset when I lost, because literally 3 games in a row, it was like if you could select the 3 hardest counters on his team to line up against the 3 hardest counters on my team, it was almost like that, like three games in a row, at least in the lead and the swap. So I was like, man, like that just sucks. There's nothing I could have done. And so apologies to Tony because he read me like a book and he deserved to win. So if I came up with snarky, I apologize to him. But sometimes I'm sure you guys experience it in the Go Battle League. You might have some frustrations, and I think it's good to acknowledge that can happen and learn from it and move on. But after that, we top cut. I believe we won a couple games, and this put us in the finals against Mr. Shiny Dialga. Now, Shiny Dialga has been to multiple regionals. He's top cut before at regionals. Very solid battler. We have a tough lead into the Medicham. I'm going to safe swap my Azumarill here, and this lures out the Lickitung. Now, this matchup isn't great for Azumarill, but the bubble buff makes it a little bit closer. This was very, very dominant for Lickitung before the bubble buff. Now that Azumarill's bubble has gotten back to where it once was, Azu can make this a little bit tighter. And because Play Rough isn't going to be enough, I actually just go for Ice Beam to potentially get to 2 quicker here. So probably should have just gone for triple Ice Beam, to be honest. Probably should have just gone for triple Ice Beam. I end up shielding, and he baits me with Body Slam. And I think at this point, I just said GG. And he was like, wait, why are you saying GG? Like, there's still so much game left. And I'm like, dude, you just got a shield advantage and retained switch advantage with a positive lead. The game is over. So I said GG, and he was like, wait, why? And I'm like, I just went down a shield and didn't flip switch. The game is over. So that is one tip for you guys. If you're going to give up switch, you want to make sure that you get some sort of advantage out of it. Well, sometimes you can't make sure of that, but that should be the goal, to get some sort of advantage out of it. I go for Hydro Cannon, just trying to play this out. Unfortunately, this Medi is super healthy, and I'm not sure if we're even going to see the back Pokemon in this game. Oh, I top left. And to be clear, I would, in these tournaments, if this was like on stream or something, I would never top left. So in this scenario, I don't remember it clearly, but I'm pretty sure I would have asked Shiny Dialga, like, are you good if I just top left? Like, do you mind? And he probably said, no, if you want to, that's fine. So in a local scenario where we're not being streamed or anything, the top left. So that was the first tournament, getting kind of a feel for the new meta. And we got all the way to the finals and then lost to Shiny Dialga. That provided us with 12 championship points. Now, after losing to Shiny Dialga in the final, we move on to the Cup. And keep in mind, we had been at this shop for quite a long time, probably 5 hours. So we're all kind of tired. We all kind of want to go home, but we're all waiting around. And it was me and Chicago local Uzuku in the finals. Both of us actually top cut in the Peoria Regional as well. And here we go. So after losing in the finals of the challenge to Shiny Dialga, I have a chance for some retribution. Is that the right word I'm looking for? And now I find myself back in the finals of a Cup. So once again, skipped a lot of battles up until this point because I would have had to win like 6 in order to get to this point. So I could provide you guys with like a 4 or 5 hour video if you want for all the battles, but that would be a little bit tiresome, I think. And we catch a very positive lead. And you see my team is slightly different as well. I'm running a Dugong in this secondary tournament. And you know what might be helpful, actually, what I just thought of kind of on the spot, is I could pause this, and if I bring up my phone screen, maybe that could be a way of, you know what, we'll just run with it. Cresselia comes in, and with all this health, this is going to be really solid for me to get this chip damage off, because as you see, Cresselia, a bit of a core breaker to my back line. But as long as I can get off a lot of chip damage here, Dugong hopefully can close out the Cresselia. We don't know what's going to be in the back. Have to come in with Dugong, of course, since Swampert cannot take a Grass Knot. Dugong can. It's not going to feel good, but can tank it a little better than Swamp. Good timing, of course, by Uzuku. I actually do decide to shield here because I'm starting to think, well, I might as well preserve Dugong and then potentially debuff the final Pokemon. That could be really beneficial for me. I get off my Icy. He actually shields. And now I'm probably going to be willing to take this. Oh, no, I shield it. Because maybe I sense he's weak to Dugong in the back since he had a Lantern lead. I get the farm. And it is a Clefable. And this debuff is going to be very nice to get off. And I actually decide to just swap Swampert immediately after I throw the Icy. This doesn't give Clefable a chance to overfarm or anything. And now, as long as I can take a Moonblast, which I should be able to, especially with the debuff, I should outpace this Clefable to double Hydro Cannon, and it should secure us the win. Moonblast comes through, connects, and Hydro Cannon should either KO from here or nearly KO from here. And Clefable, a couple more mud shots to get rid of it. So that is a G to the G, and that was the first game in this best of 3. So I've been showing you guys kind of one game in these previous matches just to kind of speed things along, but these were all best of 3s, and you're going to see game number 2 right here. We lead Swampert into Cresselia. I decide to actually throw a Hydro Cannon and then exit rather than just exiting immediately to do some chip damage. Also, my Clodsire was very safe against Uzuku's team. I remember Claude being very safe, and I'm going to drag over this while we're mid-battle here. Editor Chris doing his thing, and this was the team that I'm running in this tournament, I believe. Now Clodsire is against the Deoxys defense, going for the EQ here, and Earthquake is going to connect. Now Deoxys going to unleash energy. Psycho Boost does indeed knock us out, but I'm going to come in with Umbreon against this debuffed DD and go for a massive farm down. And this Cresselia now really has like nowhere to go. This Cresselia has nowhere to go against our remaining Pokemon. Another move coming through from the DD, just the Psycho Boost, not going to do very much at all. And Foul Play coming through as Lantern soaks it up. Come in Swampert. And I guess I take it back. Like, Cresselia still has somewhere to go. But now that it's been chipped, now that shields are still up, it's not as comfortable a situation for Cress. And I can just go straight Hydro since it's been chipped and we've danced around a bit. So Grass Knot going to shield. And I'm just feeling like a double shield at this point because the Cresselia expended its energy earlier. So I can outpace it here. Swampert lands the Hydro. At this point, do I just let it go? No, I'm going to shield. I do remember kind of losing track of Cress's energy here, so I just, no messing around, just throw Hydro immediately. And I thought this was the safest play because we're not even in Surf range yet, really. And I just go for Hydro Cannon right away. Like, we're just kind of spamming our charge moves at this point. Puts him close to Foul Play range. Not quite in Foul Play range yet. And here, I'm still not in farm down range, so I'm going to get off another Hydro Cannon before exiting. This kind of forces him to use that last shield. And then we can swap into Umbreon. And this wasn't intended to be a BM. This was like me not remembering that Psychic actually might do less damage than Foul Play now. So that's actually a huge misplay. I actually didn't... One reason I ran Psychic was for the added coverage. Another reason was partially I didn't actually remember at first that it had gotten debuffed, that had gotten nerfed, and someone reminded me of that like early on, and I was like, oh yeah, that is right. I didn't remember that, and because I don't know, you just think of Psychic as like Metacham's move. You almost think of it in your head as like a Metacham nerf, but I forgot like, oh yeah, Psychic got nerfed, if that makes any sense. So we end up beating Uzuku, GG's to him 2-0, and winning the cup on day one. So that gives us 50 championship points to add to our total as we approach that 500 mark. And now here is the team I ran in Tournament 3, where we square off against Jangles. Actually, no, I take it back. I think Tournament 3 was the only tournament I did not top cut. So I don't think we have battles from Tournament 3, and I'm sure there's going to be, what's the over-under? 2.5 commenters. Rise, cherry picking all the wins. I mean, we've already shown like two matches I lost. And also, this is a long weekend of lots of battles. Can't feature them all. And considering I managed to top cut 5 out of 6 tournaments in this video, it was probably more wins than it was losses as well. So anyway, here we go against Jangles, who we played the most out of anybody. I think we had like 6 or 7 matches total that we faced each other over the course of the weekend. And let's see if I have to change the team. But I believe it's this squad, yeah. I don't know if I ran Mandibuzz a separate time. So here we go. This was a really good battle against Jangles where I get a really positive lead. Charjabug into Poliwrath, that's where I want to see it. And this is where I kind of started to learn how dangerous Shadow Poliwrath can be in this 4th tournament of the weekend. Jangles put on a clinic and went on an absolute tear through a gauntlet of opponents. He had I don't remember exactly, but it was something like he played Pocket, Arrow, Abhinav, myself, just went through, you could argue, like, just all the big names of the tournament and kept knocking them down like bowling pins. And here we are in pretty much an RPS situation. I do lag a little bit there, but it looks like I kind of catch up. So that was a little bit unfortunate. And I get off the Dark Pulse here. This knocks out the Lickitung. And they're going to get off a Parting Aerial Ace to chip this Poliwrath. So I don't know if it really would have made a difference. Let's say I got like one more Snarl. Maybe I get off an Aerial Ace. Who knows? But I come in Charjabug, and then there's the Sableye in the back, and I can't really swap out of here. I kind of have to stay in. So I get off my X-Scissor. We're staying in here. The problem I'm seeing right now is the Poliwrath has loaded energy. The Poliwrath pretty much is already at the Icy Wind or close to it. And now I'm wondering, like, what the heck do I do to close this out? So I'm thinking I need to save a shield for Trev. And I debate whether I want to shield this or not. I decide to let it go. But one problem that now ensues is this Sableye forces a shield from me. And this shield could be really costly because now it's just a race to 2 moves. Now it's just a race to 2 moves. Who's going to get to double charge moves first? And he's already at the Icy. He should be 6 off if he was completely dry. So I'm hoping maybe he was completely dry. But in the moment, actually, I think my counts were on point. So I knew that he had it at this point. And came down to 1 fast move there. Jangles overcoming bad lost lead, bad lost safe swap. And ended up winning the game. Now, that was from tournament 4, and I have a Skarmory now, so it looks like we're fast forwarding already to tournament 5. Tournament 4, I top cut before losing to Jangles. So tournament 4, I managed to get, I believe, 32 championship points. So we got 12 plus 50, 62, and then from tournament 4, we got 32 championship points, which put me at 94 championship points on the weekend through 2 days, which is almost like top cutting at a regional. So probably already worth the trip. And then this set us up with a rematch Jangles on day number 3, tournament number 5. Skarmory into Vigoroth. And a relatively neutral matchup. Of course, Skarmory got buffed with that Steel Wing. Buff, and Steel Wing, a really solid move now, a clone of Poison Jab. And with that same type attack bonus from Skarmory, just a really solid fast move. Debating whether I want to shield or not, and I decide to let it go. And I come in to farm down with my own Vigoroth. And I remember Vigoroth being quite safe against his team that he was running here. So he's forced to come in with Trev. I counter swap into Talon, or into Umbreon, sorry. And he counter swaps Talon. So now we're ahead a little bit of energy. I'm feeling pretty decent here. Timing's always important in these situations. He throws on proper timing. I think I'm going to decide to let this go through first. And if I remember correctly, he might have been running Brave Bird on his Talon. These were open team sheets once again, so you see what movesets your opponents are running. And then I'm going to be able to threaten with another foul play here. I have energy loaded on my Vig, so at this point, I'm probably thinking just put it all on the Vig. And the only thing I don't want to do here is allow him to catch a body slam on his Trevenant. That's probably my lose condition. So I could have thrown it on CMP. That would have been kind of risky. And I can safely do a counter here to see what he does. And since I see the Incinerate go through, I can body slam to get rid of him. And now I know he can't catch. And that is the one, not the one flaw, but one of the flaws of running a 5-turn fast move user is it's very difficult to catch. Or, it's very difficult to catch when you're running a 5-turn fast move user. Rock Slide connects on Trev. And as long as I can get to this Rock Slide before he gets to 2 Seed Bombs, I should be good. So Jangles and I played many times over the weekend. Many times. The most of anybody probably. And we were able to win that one. So this is tournament number 5 still. And eventually, Shiny Dialga beat me in round 2 of this tournament. Yeah, round number 2. And this is the finals. I end up playing him again in the finals. And it's kind of like coming full circle, right? This is tournament number 5. In tournament number 1, we played each other in the finals. Now tournament number 5, we play each other again in the grand finals. And Shiny Dialga was one of the few people running Carbink at this tournament. So he has a Carbink on his team, which if you look at my team is like kind of concerning, right? Because it's really good against Umbreon and Charjabug. So, but I also have solid answers for it. So it just makes things like a little bit RPS, but we just have to keep on our mind that there could be a Carbink somewhere. So switch advantage could be important. Neutral-ish matchup here against the Whiscash. One thing I really liked about Skarmory in this weekend and using it was the ability to like lead it, take a few moves, and then just get off your hard-hitting charge moves. So we land the Brave Bird. We get a shield from the Sky Attack. I'm just going to stay in, force him to expend energy here, and then go for the farm down with Trevenant. If I remember correctly, I think he does have a Lickitung on his team. So a Lickitung here, we do not want to see if it comes in. He gets off a Scald. Luckily, no debuff. And there's a Skarmory. I'm just going to swap immediately, and he stays, and that's huge. He does catch the Discharge, which is a really nice play because X-Scissor is more efficient than Discharge, so I'm essentially just wasting a little bit energy by doing that. X-Scissor coming through, and Medicham no longer... You really have to worry about Psychic. Now it's going to be standard running Ice Punch, Dynamic Punch. That's going to be the most common moveset by far. And I think I probably shield this to preserve my energy for that Skarmory. And we should be in a pretty convincing situation here. We get the full Volt Switch down. We have actually got double Discharge, which is great. And we should be in a pretty solid spot. First Discharge connects. Second Discharge coming through, forces the final shield, and then one Shadow Claw away from the Shadow Ball for a G to the G. We take game 1 against Shiny Dialga, and let's see if I have both of these games here against him. Yep, game number 2. We're up 1-0 in the finals, and we get a really positive lead into the Medicham. He swaps Charjabug. I'm really slow here. I'm really slow to react, and one reason was Carbink is kind of just on my mind, right? So I don't want to necessarily give him Switch. Or, sorry, not give him Switch, but I don't want to give him my Swampert, and then I no longer have it for the Carbink. I guess that's what I end up doing anyway. And then maybe I had a second thought where I was like, well, if it is Carbink, I still have my Steel Wing Skarmory anyway, so I might as well come and Swampert here. So definitely not ideal to probably play this the way I did, being so slow to react and desyncing the switch clock so much, but we do make the most of it. We get a massive farm with our Swampert, and he catches on his Medi to keep his Charjabug around. Nice play by Shiny Dialga. I land the Hydro. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I reach the Earthquake on charge move priority, and this should knock out. My concern here is he should be able to Volt Switch down if he wants, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But he comes in with Licky. It's actually Lickitung in the back. So we come in with our Skarm, and this is a really good situation for us. I was thinking it's a little bit tricky, right? Because with Skarm, like, shields are down, you want to go for the Brave Bird, but you don't want to debuff yourself. So it's a little bit awkward, to be honest. So I actually decided to just go straight Sky Attack here. And believe it or not, Lickitung actually wins the one shield scenario against Skarmory, which is kind of crazy. He makes a nice catch on his Charjabug, but I felt like this was fine with me. I just want to get rid of it without taking any damage. And just going to force him to expend his energy here. If he's able to get off double Body Slam before I get to my move... Oh, I actually just swapped Trev here right away. And he's in Seed Bomb range, which will connect and knock out the Lickitung. So that secured us the championship. That secured us the championship in tournament number 5. And that put another 15 points to my total, which put me at 107 championship points. So yeah, 107 championship points. Pretty cool. And what this meant for me at this stage in time, at this point in time, was one tournament left to go. I needed a top cut. I was awfully close to the 500 point total. I was probably at like 482 or something. Yeah, maybe like 482. And I needed to top cut to get my Worlds qualification. So this was, I think, round number 4 out of 5. I was 2-1 at this point. A 3-2 would give me a shot at top cut, but a 4-1 would guarantee top cut. A 4-1 would guarantee top cut. So we're playing up against our friend Arrow, and I will tell you, Arrow and I played 4 times over this weekend, and we split it 2-2. So we'll see what happens in this one. And one thing about Arrow's team in this matchup that we played, and he also switched up his team pretty much probably every single time, is he did not have a great Swampert answer. So I knew I could freely safe swap Swampert. So even though I had the worst possible lead, theoretically, leading my Charger Bug into a Clodsire, I could freely safe swap my Swampert, and he only had neutral things against my Swampert. So if Swampert's a head energy and you only have neutral things for it, it's going to put him in a tough position. And Swampert being up like 2 mud shots here against this Whiscash is not a fun time for Whiscash, as you're seeing. I was able to shield the Scald successfully, I think, that first time. He lands the Scald, but as you see, Swampert able to tank it and actually get to another Hydro Cannon. And what went from a really bad lead because of the Swampert safe swap strategy I had, and like pretty obvious strategy with his team, allowed me to flip switch, and now the game's just over. And yeah, he might top left here. I don't remember if he top lefts or not. But another situation where 2 friends battling, one's like, do you mind if I just top left? And I wouldn't mind. Maybe he does play it out here. No, yeah. I still have a shield and a full health Skarmory. So that was a win against Arrow. That set us up in the next round against Nighttime Clasher. And Nighttime Clasher, I will say, also going for his Worlds qualification. It was in the same boat as me. He came into this tournament having just gotten 200 points from a top 16 at the Latin American International Championships. And he was in the same position as me. I believe we were both... I must have played Arrow a round earlier than previously mentioned, because I think we were both 2-1 when Knight and I played. Or maybe he was 3-0 at the time. So we were both fighting for a top cut, and a top cut would land both of us with over 500 points for our Worlds qualification. I did lose to Abhinav in round 1 of this tournament. He was running Altaria, which if you look at my team is pretty tough for me to handle, and just outplayed me with his Altaria. So Abhinav did beat me in round 1 of this tournament. We played each other several times throughout the weekend. And here against Nighttime Clasher, we have a solid lead, and I'm able to catch a Seed Bomb on my Mandibuzz. And check this out. He doesn't have a hard check to the Mandibuzz, only a soft check in the Umbreon here. So Umbreon's going to be unleashing last resorts at my Mandibuzz. I'm just going to be spamming off Aerial Aces here. This matchup takes quite some time, as we know. And just kind of, when you're in a long matchup like this, it's good to kind of just think about the current situation in the game. Maybe if you want to dance around, and that's actually what I decided to do. I decided to dance around, go directly into my Charge Bug, since the switch timers are desynced. And I'm actually holding on to energy. I wonder what I'm predicting in the back. Maybe it's like Whiscash in the back. I forget what he's running. So, gonna let this go again. Lots of energy on the Charge Bug. Gonna finally throw an X-Scissor. Not the best timing in the world, but you also don't want to go over 100 energy. X-Scissor connects. And at this point, I kind of have to shield. I want to keep this energy. Whatever's in the back could be weak to Charge Bug. And it's actually a Medicham. Now, this is a little bit scary because we are getting quite low, but we do have a ton of energy to work with. So we're going to get off multiple X-Scissors here and then probably dip into Mandibuzz. Is that what we're going to do? Yeah, I'm going to dip into Mandibuzz. And Mandibuzz is just so bulky. These counters not doing all that much, but the Ice Punch will threaten us. So at this point, I don't even care about timing. I just get this off as soon as I can. I still have a little bit of energy on that Vigoroth, I believe, which could come into play. Gonna decide to let my Mandibuzz go here. He still has 3 Pokemon, but that Umbreon is super low. What was the lead again? It was the Trev, and we were aware of it, the potential catch on the Body Slam, so we don't throw immediately. We're patient. We overfarm against the Trev. Leaves us with more energy for this Medicham. And because the Umbreon is so low, I think our Vigoroth is going to sweep the entire team here, showing what he can do. And we're able to win against Nighttime Clasher. Now, this was a big moment. Pranav, this bad man, was planning on coming to some tournaments this weekend, ended up being kind of busy, only came to this one tournament, and spoiler alert, Pranav wins this whole tournament. However, this isn't the top cut. This is my top cut because I am 3-1. Pranav is 4-0. And for me to guarantee getting into the top cut, I need to win this match. For me to guarantee the top cut, for me to guarantee winning, qualifying for Worlds, I need to win this match right here against Mr. Pranav. Really cool dude, friend of mine. And here we go. Scarm into Swampert. I would consider this a slightly positive lead for Swampert, but it's not the worst for Scarm, really, because that Brave Bird is very threatening. Versus, you can take a couple of Hydro Cannons from Swampert. Well, not necessarily take a couple, but kind of take a couple. You can take one. The second's not super comfortable, as you see. But I'm going to go for the Sky Attack bait here. And we don't get a shield, but I do get off another one, and he actually wins the charge move priority. I'm debating whether I want a shield to get this off. And here was my thought process right here. So the obvious thing, right, is to come in with Trev for the easy Shadow Claw down. I decided to come in Swampert. The reason being, I remember Pranav had a Lickitung on his team. And if I come in with Trev and I farm down, if there's a Lickitung, it's simply going to be lined up against my Trev. Instead of that situation, I come in with Swampert. Knowing I'm probably going to have to shield or take a Hydro here. I decided to shield it, hoping that once I farm down, Lickitung comes in to greet my Swampert. And that's exactly what happened. So now I'm thinking, okay, we're in this. Gonna go for the Hydro Cannon, and we grab a shield, which is good for us. Gonna overfarm, gonna go for another Hydro Cannon here. And this time he calls it, just spamming off Hydros. I kind of just want to get off a Hydro before he gets off his next move. And we're able to do so. I go for a catch. He doesn't fall for it. And there's a Charge-a-Bug in the back. Now, his Lickitung, I know, is in Hydro Cannon range. So one thing going through my mind is if I can come out of this matchup with extra energy and land a Hydro on that Lickitung, I could have this. He gets off another move. It's really tempting to shield here, but I just don't think I can do that. So I put it all on the back of Swampert here. He gets to another X-Scissor, and now my plan is to double up, hopefully, And I do get the double up. So I have a move loaded for that Lickitung. It just comes down to whether I can survive one lick. One lick comes through, and Swampert hangs on, and the Hydro Cannon will connect and knock out the Lickitung. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we were able to make the top cut to get ourselves another 25 to 32 points. I honestly can't remember. I'm sorry. And we're able to qualify for the World Championship. So if you look at the North American leaderboard right now, we are sitting at number 1 with 537 points, which means we qualified for Hawaii in 2024. Very exciting. J-Jan already qualified based off winning a regional, but he has the points as well. And then Nighttime Clasher, or Eric, you see in the 3rd spot with 487. One tournament still hasn't updated for him, so he should be over that 500 mark. And yeah, if you look at the global leaderboard, that's Hard Jeff, who we've done some videos on, the LAIC champion, sitting well ahead of the rest of the pack at 700 points. It's ridiculous. And I'm at number 2. So pretty cool stuff. It was an amazing weekend with a lot of amazing people got to hang out with. And yeah, it's cool, man. It's one thing I will say is, as someone that's been fortunate enough to qualify for Worlds all 3 seasons now, first season in Milwaukee, winning that regional, second season in Knoxville, winning that regional, now that there's a point system qualifying, it's really cool to do that and to qualify. But there's something more special about just kind of like interacting with people and developing relationships, and that's kind of what it's all about in the end. And I'm competitive. I want to win. I want to qualify for Worlds. But like having people root for you and having people happy to see you succeed, I think is even more important, and that sort of thing. I will also say, as lucky as I am to qualify again, there's something like it was a little bit anticlimactic compared to my past experiences where I was able to win a couple of regionals, and it's just kind of like it's huge. There's so many people there, it's a big deal. Versus kind of qualifying at a game shop. It was like a more little wholesome environment where people clapped for me and for Nighttime Clasher as we were the first 2 people to qualify based off of points for Worlds. So yeah. Also, I mean, I did compete in many locals. So one reason I was able to qualify first is simply because I went to many, but also I earned points for every single local I went to with the exception of 2. So had a pretty good win rate against some pretty amazing competition. And yeah, I'm proud of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, comment down below. All comments are appreciated. If you guys follow me on X, you probably saw me post about this earlier. And let's see, I can bring that up for a second. Yeah, had tons of fun at the Chicago triple double header. Top cut 5 out of 6 tournaments, ran 5 different teams, won 2 tournaments for a total of 134, which means qualified for Worlds. Here's a picture of some of us. This was at the last tournament that Pranav won. There's everybody hanging out. There's me and Nighttime, celebrating our getting it done, getting the Worlds invite. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.